6th grade. Welcome to Lesson 4, Interpret and Evaluate Algebraic Expressions. So in our last lesson, we talked about what algebraic expressions were and we practiced writing them. Now we're going to interpret and evaluate them. And we're going to use the order of operations to do that, so we don't want to forget about that good stuff. But also, remember that evaluate simply means to get an answer. All right, so I'm going to use the book to help guide us. We're going to do the step it out. It says you can evaluate an expression with a variable by substituting its known value for the variable. So substitute, you know that word. In school, your substitute is someone who replaces your teacher. In math, when we substitute, we're going to replace a variable with a number. All right? Okay, so A says the area of the rug can be represented by the expression 6W. And I know that because my rug is a rectangle and it says this is 6 and this is W. That's right off the screen, off the picture. Area, it's length times width. So area would be 6W, 6 times W. All right, so then it says find the area when W equals 4. So for algebraic expressions, it always has to give you the value for the variable. They're always going to give you that. So in this case, they're saying W equals 4. Okay, now it says substitute 4 for W. So I'm going to do 6 times 4. A lot of times we use parentheses like that to show multiplication when we have taken out a variable and put in a number. Okay, so then you simply multiply and we get 10. So I want you to remember when it's 6W, it's 6 times W. So then it would be 6 times 4. Don't get confused and think they're just next to each other. Okay, so when W equals 4, the area is 10. So the next one says evaluate 18y when y equals 2 thirds. So remember, 18y means 18 times W, okay? And so when we do that, we're going to do 18 times 2 thirds, okay? Now that's a fraction, so remember, we're going to want to actually make this 18 over 1. I'm going to go straight across. 18 times 2 is 36, and 1 times 3 is 3, and then I need to simplify, and I know 3 goes into 36 12 times. So I know 3 goes into 36 12 times, so my answer would be 12. So when y equals 2 thirds, 18w equals 12. C says evaluate x minus 12 when x equals 18.6. So our first step is always to substitute. So we're going to take out the x and put in the 18.6 minus 12. And then we're just going to subtract 6.6 as your answer. Sometimes expressions have more than one variable. So let's look at this one. It says the perimeter of a rectangular swimming pool can be written as 2L plus 2W, where L is the length and W is the width. Hopefully that's a familiar formula for you, where we're adding up the sides to find the perimeter. Find the perimeter when L equals 7.5 meters and W equals 4.5 meters. Our expression was 2W plus 2L, and we're going to substitute. So instead of the L, I'm going to have 7.5, and instead of the W, I'm going to have 4.5. And then we're going to follow the order of operations, so we would have to multiply first. So we'll do 2 times 7.5 and get 15, and then 2 times 4.5 and get 9. So we multiply before we add, and then we'll add those two numbers together and get 24. So I know that when L equals 7.5 and W equals 4.5, my perimeter is 24. Let's try 3A. They give us 4x cubed minus 3y. And then they tell us that x equals 2 and y equals 10. All right, so Remember, the first step is always to substitute. So we're going to take out the x and put in a 2 and take out the y and put in a 10. So we have 4 times 2 cubed minus 3 times 10. Now, remember, we have to still follow order of operations. So although there are parentheses in here, guys, that's going to throw some of you off. Inside the parentheses, notice there's no math to do. So we don't have parentheses to do. They're just showing multiplication. So then we're going to jump to exponents. And I have 2 to the exponent of 3. Remember, that means 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. So we'll do 4 times 8 minus 3 times 10. And then we need to multiply. 4 times 8 is 32. 3 times 10 is 30. And then we would finally subtract. So I started with an algebraic expression. I substituted. I did exponents. Then I multiplied. And then I subtracted. I had to follow the order of operations. Another one, it is 6s plus d over 2. S equals 5/12. So I'm going to do 6 times 5/12 plus d equals 15. And I got that from the book over there. All right, so first let's do our multiplication. 6 over 1 times 5 over 12. I go straight across. 6 times 5 is 30. 1 times 12 is 12. And I'm going to leave it like that, and then I'm going to bring down my 5. 15 over 2. Because this is a little tricky. We have to add these fractions, but we need them to have common denominators. So we could do two things. We could make the 2 a 12, or can I reduce this so that it's over 2? I can't. So I'm going to divide both of these by 6, because I want the denominator to be 2, and 12 divided by 6 is 2. So 30 divided by 6 is 5. So now that I have common denominators, I can add those fractions. This is a tricky one because we had to remember fraction rules. And when we add fractions, we only add the numerator. So 15 plus 5 is 20 over 2, and that reduces to 10. Have you guys realized how I'm writing all of these steps down? I'm not skipping anything. I know it's really easy to want to skip ahead and do a lot of math in your head, especially when you're at home and Mrs. Katspiolis isn't there to nag you to show your work. But it really is important to write out the ones like this that are a little bit more complicated because it's easier to make a mistake. All right, so we're going to do C, and C is a little bit of a typo, but you can see down below with the boxes what it's supposed to say. So it's 4x squared y. Okay, and they said x is 3 and y is 0.5. So I'm going to do 4 times 3 squared times 0.5. Okay, so I didn't use parentheses this time, I used the multiplication sign. It doesn't matter what you use, you can choose what's best for you. So we have to follow order of operations. I don't see parentheses, but I see an exponent. Remember, 3 squared is 3 times 3, which is 9. And then I'll bring down the rest of my problem. And then we're going to go left to right. So 4 times 9 is 36. Bring down 0.5. And when I multiply those, I'm going to get 18. So when I evaluate my expression, it's 18. I want you to do 3x minus 4y when x equals 4 and y equals 3. So pause right now, and I want you to solve that, evaluate it. Okay, so hopefully the first thing you did was substitute. So you do 3 times 4 minus 4 times 3. That's our substitution, and then you had to multiply, so you have 12 minus 12, and you ended up with 0. Give yourself a pat on the back if you got 0. Good job. All right, we're going to do another one, and this time it's going to be 2x squared. X still equals 4, and y still equals 3. We actually don't need y this time. I would like you to pause and try that one on your own. So first thing you did was substitute. So 2 times 4 squared. And then we had to do the exponent. So 4 squared is 4 times 4, which is 16. So 2 times 16 is 32. If you got that one, give yourself a high five this time. All right, we're going to do one more. So x is still equal 4 and y equals 3. The last one you're going to try on your own is 3x over 4y. Write that one down and try it out. All right, so you had to do substitution first. 3 times 4 and 4 times 3. And then I would suggest doing your multiplication. I don't know if we've done one like this, but we'll do everything on top. So we'll do 3 times 4, then 4 times 3, and then reduce as 1. All right, guys, that's all I have for you today. I want you to now jump back to Canvas, and I think there is an activity for you to do and some practice on HMH. See you later. Bye-bye.